It is a promise we have made to our mothers and fathers since we became a people. Honor thy father and thy mother. As immigrants to a new land, we brought our culture and our values. We called Seattle our home, replanted our roots, and grew a community. Among those immigrants was one woman who set in motion one of the most remarkable institutions in the Northwest.
The Kline Galland home is the heart and soul of our Seattle Jewish community.
I cannot picture Seattle without Kline Galland.
Kline Galland saw a need to alleviate the suffering of people in the future. And based on that legacy, Kline Galland is celebrating today 100 years.
Born in Bavaria in 1838, Caroline Rosenberg immigrated to America and ultimately arrived in Seattle in 1877. Her husband, Lazarus Kline, was a successful clothing retailer who invested in several properties in downtown Seattle. After Lazarus passed away in 1891, Caroline, who would later marry Bonham Galland, was well known for her charitable contributions, giving generously to orphanages of every faith, hospitals, as well as Temple de Hirsch, where she was a member.
It's a period where there was no safety net for people in need.
She was thinking about the future, which is a good lesson for all of us. How can I make sure that my influence goes beyond my own lifetime?
In 1907, when she passed away, it was learned that in her will, she had donated nearly her entire fortune to charity, with $1.4 million specifically earmarked for creating a home for the elderly. Equivalent to more than $34 million today, it is still considered one of the largest charitable donations in Washington state.
With one stroke of a pen, she put something in motion that has grown and flourished and evolved into something that she probably couldn't have even imagined.
In 1914, working hand in hand with an advisory board consisting of officers from Temple de Hirsch and the Ladies Hebrew Benevolent Society, today's JFS, Seattle Trust and Savings Bank authorized purchasing the Dutton residence in Seward Park. Shortly thereafter, the Caroline Kline Galland Home for the Aged and Feeble Poor was opened.
It gave hope to people who were hopeless.
Caroline's will stated that the home will be managed so that it may bring to the lives of the aged men and women the greatest degree of contentment and happiness in their declining years. Over the decades, a loyal community of volunteers helped fulfill that vision.
Our volunteers bring a sense of light.
The community has taken Kline Galland as its own, and it has found ways to support it in the same spirit as Caroline Kline did.
The quintessential volunteer is Carolyn Dans.
It was her life to participate at the home. Lucille Spring was there for 3 decades, leading singing groups, and eventually became the volunteer coordinator.
Between the movies, the bingo, the services, the music, it's a vibrant community.
The spirit of volunteerism is passed down through the generations.
I came to Kline Galland Home as a volunteer when I was 12 years old, and 12 years later, I'm now the Director of Volunteer Services.
I think it's marvelous, really marvelous that young people that want to do this.
It's a great source of pride for the Seattle Jewish community because it's a reflection of our values.
After operating for more than a decade, in 1930, a new home was built, increasing capacity from 7 to 25 residents. As Kline Galland's reputation spread, its waiting list grew longer. In 1967, community leader Saul Esfeld helped raise $1.1 million for an entirely new facility to accommodate 70 residents.
I think we all in those days felt that if things are going to be done for Jewish people, it would have to be done by Jewish people.
Within 5 months, the home was again at capacity. 9 years later, Esfeld and Kline Galland's new executive director, Josh Gortler, raised $3.6 million to double the home's capacity. Under the leadership of Gortler, it was clear from the beginning that the Kline Galland was in capable hands.
I mean, the home became his, and he made sure that everything was done so well.
This wasn't just a job, this was a calling.
Over the years, Gortler initiated a number of innovative partnerships and programs, one of which provided health care and activities to seniors who did not live at the Kline. The idea took hold, and the executive director reached out to local businessman Morris Pollock to fund the program.
He asked me, what will it take for you to have money for the future of that day center? I said, how about $1 million? He said, Josh, you got it.
Kline Galland would not be able to do any of these things without the incredible community support that we've gotten over the years. It's not just a monetary contribution, it's that their heart belongs to Kline Galland, and not only the building, but to all its programs, to all its services.
One of the things I hear consistently when people have loved ones here is how amazing the staff is.
When you walk the halls and you see staff in the facilities that have been there for 10s of 20s of 30s of years, it's the people that make this special.
In the 1990s, Kline Galland saw that the needs of seniors were changing.
We ran through professional and demographic studies and what have you, and we found there definitely was a need to have a regular independent living, assisted living facility.
The concept of independent assisted living was created.
By July of 1992, past board president Arva Gray and community leader Ray Galanti raised a record $20 million. In 2001, the Summit at First Hill welcomed its first residents to the 126-unit tower.
When I step into the Summit and I see individuals sit down with friends, share a drink and a conversation, it brings joy to me.
The place is a gorgeous place, and to come here and see what had been accomplished.
We had never seen anything like it. I mean, you sort of have tears in your eyes when you saw the Summit.
Kline Galland evolved in a great way to keep up with today's times.
After 36 years as Kline Galland's executive director, Gortler notified the board that he would be retiring. After a long and comprehensive search, in 2006 they hired Jeff Cohen, the chief operating officer from the Los Angeles Jewish Home.
Jeff and his team have really been visionary in how they've looked at the future of healthcare, which is a very uncertain world.
Jeff understood where the population was going and what Kline Galland needed to do in order to stay vital.
When we think of the number of lives that have been touched, not only in the past 100 years, but the number of lives in the generations to come, it's a priceless gift to our community.
Each individual comes to us with a tremendous life, someone who had made an impact on family, society. That is respected and provided at Kline Galland.
I can rest easy, and I think the members of the community can rest easy knowing that the Kline is there for them.
I think we should be very proud of what we have accomplished. On the other hand, we have another 100 years coming, and we want to make sure that we can maintain this place, this home, for generations to come.